touch all your connections, touch your Hans, just make sure you get everything like you want it.
Well, good evening, Sigma race fans. We come at you here live tonight from Nashville Superspeedway. It's not really a superspeedway, but it was named that when they first created the track, and it's still a 1.333 mile racetrack. So more of an intermediate or cookie cutter racetrack, as you might call them. So tonight here we have a 181 lap race with 241 miles of racing around Nashville here with our Bridge to Cup series. Last night we saw Alan Malcolm win the race from Homestead. Similar tracks to this, kind of the length and style of racing we're going to see here tonight as well at Nashville. With the starting lineup, you have Luis Rodriguez and Alex Crowther on the front row. Willow Blake, who came in third last night, starting third here tonight alongside Cooper Dwight. And you got Trevor Vaden and Tim Corning. Alan Malcolm returning from his win last night for a top 10 start alongside Alan Chavot. Carson Bowers, your points leader with Jimmy Logano. Gannon Bird and Anheuser-Walkner. Jason So and Cannon Gage. Ryan Little and Wyatt Wilkinson, Alex Sanvital and Matthew Hubert, Roach and Krista Cower, Jamie Horseman and Zach Magoon, Rich Roy and Jack Davis, James Gunner, Kyler Sestre, Eli the Wolf, Adam Starr, Spinham Walker and Kat Durham, Skylar Taylor and Noah Hobson, with Andrew Moger and Jonah Burridge at the back end of the field. The inverted numbers up front there. You got the 48 and the 84 starting on the front row. Kind of a little fun tidbit there.
All right, boys, coming at you. Let's make it a go, man. Let's have some fun.
Luis Rodriguez hunting for his first win on the season. Alex Crowther looking to win his third. Willow Blake also seeking her first win, as well as Cooper Dwight and Trevor Vaden. Tim Corting's gotten a win on the season, starting in 6th there. That's actually his teammate in the 48 of Luis Rodriguez. So team owner and teammate both starting in the top 10 there. Willow Blake settles into 2nd as Luis Rodriguez blows off out there in the lead. It's going to take Willow Blake a little bit more to knock off the points needed to catch Carson Bowers. After a 3rd place last night, Carson Bowers still came home with a top 5. So the points are very hard to come by right now when dueling against the points leader. Trevor Vaden settles into third there for LFG Motorsports. Alan Malcolm in fourth, and Crowther drops back to fifth. Jimmy Logano making a move down on the inside here, as it looks like we've got two established lines racing on the track at the moment, the inside and the outside. Top six have kind of singled out there for the moment, but Jimmy Logano trying to find some speed where the others aren't. Willow Blake starting to close up on the leader here just a little bit. 48 of Luis Rodriguez has led since the green flag. Next week when we go to Watkins Glen, it's going to be officially halfway through the regular season. The regular season's only 24 races long. And next week when we go to Watkins Glen, that's going to be race number 12 of 24 in the regular season. Then, of course, we've got a 6-race bracket championship, otherwise known as August Agro. Head-to-head March Madness style bracket challenges for these Bridge to Cup drivers. It's going to come down to the 16, so kind of like our Sweet 16. 16 drivers either with the win or highest in points, whichever order that falls. So it would come down to winners within the top 25 in points, and then the rest would be filled out by drivers in the top 16. What we're going to do a little bit differently, though, in the bracket challenge this year is the seeding. It's going to be a little bit different. Prior seeding gave the number 1 seed too much of an advantage as to where they were only racing against the 16, 15, 14, and 13 seed. And then in hindsight, pretty much your bottom of the barrel had to go against the highest of the seedings each week too, so it really it didn't give a fair shake to everyone. So we're going to be looking at a different seeding format to be determined. So far in the race, Alan Malcolm with the fastest lap, trying to go 2 for 2 in back-to-back races here. That would be crazy if he could pull that off. Hasn't really been a factor up to last week that we didn't really see him as a threat for this championship. But if he could knock off 2 back-to-back wins, that would be a statement win for these 2 races for him. Prior to last night's win, Alan Malcolm was sitting deep in the points, 13th overall. Obviously, points haven't been tallied up from that race last night, so he's probably going to jump up into the top 10 with that win from last night. And continuing on his tear, if he goes again tonight, he's only probably going to start jumping up even closer to the top 5 in points with how he's running. Well, we've pretty well settled out here to a nice long green flag run. Single file throughout the front of the field here. Kind of the usual suspects at the front of the field as we've seen them week in, week out with this Bridge to Cup series. The only outlier being that of Luis Rodriguez. We have not seen him run up front a whole lot within the last couple of weeks. So this is a game changer for that 48 team maybe. Trevor Vaden was up as high as 5th at one point and is now dropped back to 10th. So maybe not quite the long run setup for this 18 team as he's struggling a little bit in the late run here. White Wilkinson, on the other hand, looks like he's making some moves through the field. If we go back to the start of the race on lap 1, he started 16th, so he's up 5 spots already and still has plenty of room to roam to get through some more of the lineup here. Everyone's still out there running, all 34 cars strong here in the first 23 laps of the race here tonight. Alan Malcolm trying to pick up where he left off last night from Homestead. He didn't really dominate the race yesterday at Homestead. He kind of came around at the end and led the last couple laps to get the win. So maybe flipping the script here and trying to lead the most laps. You got teammates right there, the 12 of Carson Bowers and the 41 of Cooper Dwight. Carson Bowers actually dropping backwards here. He was up in about 4th place. He's been passed now by Jimmy Logano and Tim Cording. So your points leader letting some of those points bleed out as he's had such a substantial lead over the rest of the field for the last couple weeks. He's definitely got some playing chips to bargain with the rest of the field, but you don't want to give away all your points. And maybe it'll come back to him towards the end of the race, but right now it's not looking as pretty for that number 12 car. Another one that might be on the urge of losing some spots here is Willow Blake, as she's under attack there by Alex Crowther. Well, now we've got a new 11th place driver there. Jason So gets by Wyatt Wilkinson to take the position. Might have a battle brewing here, though, between these two, as Wyatt Wilkinson's going to try to make a move here on Jason So. Really only one of the highest running battles right now between 11th and 12th. Still pretty much orderly through the front of the field there. Oh, and here we go. Alex Crowther making a move on Willow Blake there for third. And he makes quick work of Willow Blake there. She settles into fourth without much of a fight. Jimmy Logano going as well, and he's going to try to push the envelope and go for two. Jimmy Logano from fifth to fourth. And from fourth, thinking about going to third. And meanwhile, Cooper Dwight making a move on his teammate there, the points leader, Carson Bowers. Wow, Willow Blake loses another spot there, this time to Tim Cording in the 50. And Jimmy Logano going for third on the move. Jimmy Logano led a lot of laps last night from Homestead, but unfortunately, during a late race round of green flag pit stops, he suffered a flat tire on the exit of his pit stop and had to make an extra pit stop during the green flag race run. Ultimately, killed his day, forced him to finish laps down at the end of the race in 34th or 32nd, somewhere around there. Maybe seeking a little bit of vengeance here tonight. He's been on a checkers or wreckers season so far. But it's going to be tough. They're going to have to figure out how to get by Alan Malcolm here today, who's got the fastest car and is leading the race. So it's going to be a tough combo to beat him. And there we have it. Jimmy Logano going for second. Looks like Willow Blake gets passed there by Carson Bowers, and we've got a whole lot of action going on here right at the front of the field. As Luis Rodriguez is in third, Alex Crowther fourth, and moving his way up to fifth, it is Carson Bowers. And Carson Bowers not stopping at that as he wants to try and get in the top four on Alex Crowther right there. Well, Alan Malcolm is checking away on the rest of the field here as he's putting on a heater at the front of the field. As you can see the gap there, it's grown substantially. Luis Rodriguez now up to second. Jimmy Logano in third. Carson Bowers fourth, and fifth, it's Alex Crowther. Willow Blake has dropped to being the last car in that line of our lead group there. But for the most part, the rest of the field's going to start hoping we get a caution here before too long so that they can try to get back into this race, as Alan Malcolm is kind of stinking up the show right now. Of course, strategy will factor in here with pit stops, whether it stays green all the way or if we get a caution. Pit stops are going to definitely factor into this one. There we go. Here's a fight for second. Not much of a fight as Jimmy Logano just blows by Luis Rodriguez there. Alex Crowther making a move on Bowers as well. Woo! And almost on the 48. Not quite. Carson Bowers gets shuffled out a few more spots as he's under attack now by the 41. Alex Crowther, 48, maybe some pit stops. I don't know what's going on here. 48's getting really slowed up there. Well, things getting shooken up a little bit here as Jimmy Logano still holds on to second, but Tim Cording now up to third, Crowther in fourth, and Cooper Dwight now up into the top 5. We're about 60 laps in, no wrecks, no cautions so far. Everything's pretty calm and calculated at the moment. But we're going to have to start wondering when our leaders and the rest of the field are going to have to come down pit road for gas and tires. Willow Blake making a move now. A lot of kind of onesie-twosie battles all the way through the front of the field here. Definitely keeping it interesting. But all in the meanwhile, it's been Alan Malcolm out front dominantly leading this race. Back-to-back nights looking like it could be a statement week for Alan Malcolm. Well, there's another fun fact for you, because I figured out last night that he had swept the trucks in Bridge to Cup at Homestead, Miami, getting a win in the Trucks East and getting a win in Bridge to Cup. Well, guess who else won Nashville in the East Truck Series? Yeah, it was Alan Malcolm. So if he gets the win here tonight, kind of goes to show you that maybe he's just got some tracks figured out. Knows it like the back of his hand. It's crazy that that's actually transitioned over. I mean, there's so much difference between the trucks and Bridge to Cup that I don't feel like there's any comparison to the running style, but somehow, some way, he's getting it figured out and he's dialed in to these tracks that he's getting the wins at. He's not even making it much of a question out here today as he's out there dominantly leading. First to come down pit road, he's going to get the undercut performance here as he's going to be pitting first, getting the fresh tires, and he'll be back out on track before anyone else laying fast laps down. We'll see. I don't think anyone else is making that pit stop, so just Alan Malcolm right out of the lead. 117 laps to go. Definitely not going to make it with just this stop. He's going to have to make at least one more stop before the end of the race, as is everyone else. But he's getting that undercut, the early pit stop out of the way here, and maybe stretch it a little longer on the second stint. Now, you best be careful that we don't get no caution on the people exiting pit road. That's usually when cautions start to rear their ugly head, is when people are exiting pit road and not keeping an eye on the racetrack that they're merging onto. Malcolm's going to be safe, it looks like, with not a lot of cars around him to merge up on track with. And it looks like just about everyone else coming down pit road now, so things should shuffle back around to him being your leader. There you see, he beat the 84, the 9, and the 41, the 50 all off. Well, it looks like we've made it through the first round of green flag pit stops without any drama. No wrecks, no cautions. We've stayed green for the first 69 laps in this race. and Alan Malcolm back to your lead. So we're going to take just a brief Sigma side by side. You won't miss any of the racing action, folks. Just keep your eyes on the small screen. Oh, wow. So I stepped away for a moment, and we had a lot of problems here at Nashville. Mechanical failures galore, including your points leader, Carson Bowers, who started smoking out of 8th place. Sigma officials are actually going to throw the caution for oil down. And the 55 had a blown engine. And his day's over. Blown up. We saw that, I think, during the stream. The Sigma side by side at least. Kyler Sestre. Damn, they're dropping out like flies here. Blown engine after blown engine after blown engine. And Sigma officials finally threw the caution. Too much oil down on track after all those blown engines. Carson Bowers still on pit road. It doesn't look like he wants to give up quite yet. But the mechanical failure might be too big to overcome here. He's already 2 laps down. If they can somehow fix it on pit road, which I highly doubt it. The analytics show that it was 96% damage to the engine, so that's pretty chronic. Yeah, and they're showing a clutch failure. They tried to give it the good old college try to see if they could fix it, but the day is over for your points leader. And so that opens up a whole nother can of worms. The 0-2 of Willow Blake is licking her chops now, knowing that the points leader is knocked out of the race here tonight. Well, we're going to get reset for the restart. 93 laps to go. Still not good enough to go to the finish for our group. Everyone's going to have another pit stop still, so the caution did not fall at a very perfect time. And things are shaking up a little bit as Alan Malcolm didn't have such a great pit stop. He's got knocked out of the top 10. Your new leader at the moment, Jimmy Logano, Alex Sanvital, Matthew Hubert, Anheuser Walkner, and Adam Starr, your top 5. And then you have Ryan Little, Krista Cower, Eli the Wolf, Roach, and Alan Malcolm actually is in 10th. So still in the top 10. He's going to have to come back through the field, though, to get that lead back. Willow Blake, on the other hand, she's going to be overjoyed with the points leader getting knocked out. She's kind of falling backwards here into 17th at the moment. So needs to resurge here, and max points for today could put her in the points lead by the end of it. She's got the inside line for the restart, which is perfect. That'll keep her from falling backwards like most people on the outside. As we get ready for the restart, it's Jimmy Logano leading them into turn 1 here. Green flag waves, and we're back in racing here at Nashville. Alex Sanvital with one hell of a jump there as he gets in front of Jimmy Logano. Ooh, and closes the door, not quite. Jimmy Logano is still there, holding serve in second place. Alex Sanvital fighting to keep the lead away from Jimmy Logano, though. Not going to prevail as Jimmy Logano gets the job done and secures the number 1 spot. Teammates there, Adam Starr and Krista Cower, nose to tail. Ooh, Alan Malcolm on a tear. He doesn't want to be upset here today with what looked to be the fastest car in the first half of the race. Is he going to have what it takes to get back up front and lead? Whoa, a little unsorted there with the 6 and the 7. 19 gets stuck up high, though, unfortunately. Wrong place at the wrong time. Ooh, and there we go. There's a new leader. Alex Sanvital takes over from Jimmy Logano there with a good push from Anheuser-Walkner. It's crazy. All the mechanical failures back to back to back, pretty much in rapid succession. Makes you wonder if they're really pushing it that hard on the setups here at Nashville to be fast but also cautious. Kind of a hard middle line to find. There we go. Willow Blake back up into the top 10 as she's duking it out with Roach for 9th. And actually, that was for 8th place, so she's now up to 8th. And Willow Blake kind of coming now with a vengeance as she's trying to pick them off one by one. Now on the attack here with Tim Cording. That would be for 7th place. She got 7th, and now she's looking at 6th. Adam Starr. Faster cars are always going to move to the front here, and it looks just like that's happening with the 0-2 of Willow Blake. She goes from 8th to 6th in one lap there. What a tremendous single lap run there by the 0-2. Now she's looking for 5th. That's going to be past Anheuser-Walkner as she's settled into 5th easily. She's picked off 3 drivers in 2 laps. Seem to have the setup for this second half of the race dialed in here. And on the third lap, going to plateau just a little bit as she's not able to get by anyone, but she's still knocking on the door. That 81 of Matthew Hubert better be careful that she doesn't open it up on him. A new leader happening right there. The 84 of Alex Crowther making the move on Alex Sanvital. So the Alex and Alex show. It's crazy. No matter what sport you've got, you're always going to have doppelgangers. You're going to have duplicates of the same first name, it seems like. And Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch. You look at other series, even football. I mean, obviously, football and baseball, you're going to have so many players on every team that it's almost a given that there's going to be 3 Jakes or several of the same first name. But when you have a field of 40 people, or like here tonight, 34, the odds are a little less likely for you to have back-to-back duplicates. I mean, look at, you got Chase Briscoe and Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson. You got Smiths. You got 3 different Smith drivers, too. Crazy. Well, 79 laps to go. Alex Crowther, your leader. Alex Sanvital in second. And now Willow Blake getting shuffled backwards here. She got stuck on the outside, it looks like, and falls from 5th back to 8th in the matter of 1 lap. So she's... Whoa, she's going to give a bump there to Jimmy Logano. Hello, Jimmy. Don't mind if I do as she comes barging through. Alan Malcolm out of nowhere. Where in the hell did Alan Malcolm come from? From 12th place to 10th. And this looks like the lap where he's going to knock him off here. He was on a run like Willow Blake was about a handful of laps ago. Catches the 48 and the 50 here. Going to have the draft to help him a little bit. He's going to peek on the inside of the 48. And the fact that they're all held up there, that's where Willow Blake's struggling behind the 28. He's going to jump from 9th up to 6th here as he kills 3 birds with 1 stone. Wow. How crazy is that? 5th, and now probably looking for the lead. Well, he's settled into 5th, though, and it's kind of held up a little bit here. Alex Crowther way out front now. But is he going to be able to hold off a hard-charging Alan Malcolm, who is found... He's found it here tonight. That 19 is on a rail. From 5th to 3rd. And he's going to have his sights set on 2nd and eventually the lead again. No one's going to be able to hold back Alan Malcolm here tonight at Nashville. Willow Blake back on the move again, as it looks like she's up to 6th. Even without a win, she could really crack into that points lead left behind by the 12 of Bowers. Bowers didn't lead any laps here today, so a lot of points left up on the table that she could swallow up here today. So Alex Crowther already has 2 wins on the season. Tim Cording has 1. Alan Malcolm has 1. Jack Davis does not have a win, nor does Willow Blake. So top 3 all looking to add to their win column. Wow. The 4th and 5th place driver looking to get their first win on the season. Obviously, there's going to be at least one more round of pit stops before the end of this thing, so no one's safe to go all the way to the finish. So far, everything looks clean and shy of us seeing any cautions. We went pretty hard without any cautions there to start the race. And then 3 back-to-back mechanical failures that oiled down the track. I was about to say, things have kind of plateaued out here, but it looks like the 50 of Tim Cording could be catching that 84 of Alex Crowther, little by little. And in the meantime, the rest of the group behind them, 4th and 5th in place, aren't letting them get too far away either, so we could have about 5 cars up at the front of the field fighting for the lead here shortly. Alan Malcolm flirting with the idea of getting by the 50 here. They best stick together, though, I think, to work on cutting the draft down to the leader. Oh no, do we have yet another mechanical failure? 50 of Tim Cording from 2nd place. Ah, shoot, it's a flat tire. The 50 of Tim Cording suffers a flat tire from 2nd place, nonetheless. Looks like Sigma officials are going to keep the race rolling here, keep it green. It was starting to look like a run was developing as they were going to start catching the leader, but now Alex Crowther has won a hell of an advantage again over the rest of his competitors. Second and third, Willow Blake now up to third. Jack Davis in second. Alan Malcolm falls back to fourth with Cooper Dwight in fifth. Always seems like Nashville gives us these crazy mechanical failure races where you really don't know who's going to fall off next. Willow Blake is looking faster here. She wants to get around Jack Davis so she can start hunting down the leader. There we go. She's going to make a move on the 17 with relative ease. The 02 gets by to take the position away. She's running laps faster than your leader at the moment. And now with a clear track, she can turn even faster laps without having to be stuck behind traffic there. Almost guarantee you that she's in the same boat as Jimmy Logano was, coming back tonight with a vengeance to try and get a win. She led so many laps last night at Homestead just to come up third. It was definitely a heartbreaker. Heartbreaker for a third place finish is pretty crazy to say, but she had that race all but won, and the winning is what she desires the most right now. It's been a long, long dry spell, and many factors involved, but ultimately she wants to get back to victory lane and prove her place in the series. Yeah, she's running quicker laps here than your leader. She just turned a 29.80. He turned a 29.86. So if this race stays green and we're going to see those pit stops again, it might come down to who gets the undercut to get the advantage on the leader here. Led most laps might start to look interesting here as we'll take a look at the Sigma side-by-side banner. Led most laps, Alan Malcolm at 72 laps, Alex Crowther at 30. So if Crowther leads every single lap to the finish, he could get led most laps here. And it almost looked like a carbon copy of last night's race from Homestead. I mentioned how this track is very similar in layout, kind of in the racing style. And holy crap, if we end up with an almost carbon copy race from last night just at Nashville instead of Homestead. But the one factor in that mix would be a surprise winner, of course. And that could very well be the driver that's running in second right now, as she would love to see that victory come her way. Yeah, if it's playing out like last night where Jimmy Logano and Willow Blake led the most laps, here tonight if Alex Crowther and Alan Malcolm lead the most laps, there's going to be a surprise winner waiting in the background there. 50 laps to go. Pit stops likely to be happening with about 20 laps left in the race, so still about 30 laps shy of seeing those late last race pit stops here for... And I can still see that gap shrinking. Yeah, not by a whole lot, but it's down to 1.81 seconds as Willow Blake seems to have kind of plateaued just a little bit as she's maybe used up her tires a bit much. And we've already got some early takers down pit road. Maybe a couple drivers gambling to try and get down pit road first for the undercut before the leaders can come down. Often when you've got someone that comes down early like that, it forces the hand of the leaders to do the same thing, but they're holding serve for now, waiting for the numbers that they're looking to line up with. And now lap traffic's going to factor in just a little bit here as Alex Crowther catches up to the back end of the field. Willow has cut the lead down to 1.67 seconds now as she's under attack by one of the lap cars that just pitted. 8 of Eli the Wolf out there with fresh tires looking like Superman. He's going to try to pass her around the outside. She ain't giving an inch though. This lap traffic's going to have to rise above here if they want to get around Willow Blake. 1.62 seconds. Now Jimmy Logano either made the pit stop or is having some more troubles again here tonight. I think he probably took the undercut strategy, so he's pitted already and he's good to go to the finish would be my guess. Willow Blake now down to 1.42 seconds as leaders under attack here by the lap traffic. they've got the fresh tires. They're going to beat him heads up right now. This could give Willow Blake a chance to make the lead happen before her pit stop. There we go. The 21 and the 65 both get by. Alex Crowther here. That's going to make him bleed lap time something fierce. He's down to a 30.17. Compare that up to Willow Blake, who just turned a 30.023. They're within the same realm, same screenshot basically. You can see she's closing the gap. 30.3, and she just turned a 29.9. Deficit is now 0.83 seconds, less than a second separating the two of them. This is where the strategy is really going to get interesting, as these drivers want to stretch it as long as they can and maybe hope for a caution. A lot of the other drivers are gambling here tonight, pitting earlier and trying to get that lap time to beat the leader. It may not be enough to get around the leader. It might be good enough to gain about 10 spots, though, from the back end of the field. That's why you saw a bunch of the people take the undercut strategy. But I do not have a firm grasp on who's got the winning strategy right now, as it's really going to come down to when everyone's pitted that will actually see the best strategy pan out. Oh, Willow Blake about to get passed by another lap car there. 46 of Gannon Bird. Fresh tires flying around like Superman. 35 as well, another one of those drivers. But that's for position right there. Cooper Dwight gets by Willow Blake for second, as she's now fallen back to third. It might be time to make that pit stop for Willow Blake to get inside, get fresh tires, and live to fight another day. Because she's going to start falling into the grasps of Alan Malcolm, who's had the fastest car here today. And I definitely would not want to see him get past me. Cooper Dwight, on the other hand, might be in the catbird seat. If the 46 gets side by side with the 84, that's going to draw the 41 even closer. And we might have, oh, and pit stops are happening. Your leaders. Oh, and that's a bizarre strategy. Willow Blake on the overcut. She's going to stay out another lap here. Lead a lap, at least. She'll get the lead lap point right there. But is it really worth it to stay out this extra lap while your leaders are down there getting fresh tires? And we'll see if it pans out here. That's really the only way this strategy is going to work, is if she stretches it even further than your leaders. There's absolutely no way that Willow Blake could make it to the finish here unless we got a caution. Then she would kind of luck out with her positioning. Sigma officials are going to keep a close watchful eye on any mechanical failures on track. And Willow Blake couldn't stay out any longer than that. She's coming down pit road now as well. Now the lead swaps hands over to Alan Malcolm. Man, I don't see the overcut being the strategy of choice here. You're going to end up losing time once you come off pit road. And the leaders are going to just blow by you here. See, Willow's on pit road now. We're going to have to keep an eye on those two who are 2 laps down to her right now. Alex Crowther, Cooper Dwight. They're fresh off pit road. Ooh, Alex Sanvital, that's for position. I don't know where Alex Sanvital come from. But that might have been one of your early pit stops. Way early pit stops. No, yes, at lap 132. So Alex Sanvital pitting way early is actually net gained him a bunch of spots here, and he's fighting for the lead in the closing laps. Willow Blake's not going to come out too far behind. She's got fresher tires. If those tires get warmed up, she might be fighting for the lead still. The 40, however, it's a short-lived boost of energy here, but those leaders that just got the fresher tires, once they get warmed up, they're going to blow by Alex Sanvital back for the lead here. Jonah Burridge kind of coasting around. There he goes, pitting now. This is going to get interesting. Varying strategies all across the board. Sometimes you just got to get lucky once in a while. And it looks like Alex Sanvital might have hit a bit of a lucky streak here. Alex Crowther in second, Cooper Dwight in third. And they're trying to find their way around Alex Sanvital here. Oh boy, Alan Malcolm's leaving pit road now. Looks like he's going to shuffle out in about fifth though. But he's got probably about 10 laps newer tires than your leaders, so if a late race caution does present itself, he would be sitting pretty peachy with these fresher tires over the rest of the field. Jimmy Logano did perform the undercut. As you can see, he's fighting for sixth now. Oh, and yeah, they blew by the 40. Short-lived glory for the 40, as the undercut gave him an opportunity to lead some laps there, but not for the win here today, as I don't think he's going to get back by those two that just passed him. We're going to go ahead and enable green-white checkers just in case we need it here today. The impressive part is that 84 had a great driver last year when we had Atlee Weiss finishing out his pretty much Sigma racing career. He came back down here to Bridge to Cup to try and win some more races, and that he did. He won about 5 more races in Bridge to Cup before hanging up his hat. One of the few drivers to win in all classes except for Arca. Arca wasn't around when he started. And yeah, that 84 Crowther taking over just fine in that ride that's seen victory lane so many times. Picking up where Atlee left it off. But he's got a rear view mirror full of Cooper Dwight. Dwight not letting him get away too easily here. Meanwhile, it looks like Willow Blake starting to catch up to the 40 of Alex Sanvital. Willow's going to need a little bit of luck here and some side-by-side racing out of the leaders to try and get back into the mix. Alan Malcolm led the most laps here today, but he's going to come up too short at the end of it. Crowther at 55 laps led. 21 laps to go. If he leads every single lap here at the finish, he would tie for led most laps with Alan Malcolm. Or if we had a late race caution that forced green-white checkers, then maybe he would get those extra laps over Alan Malcolm. But I don't think Crowther's going to hold this lead for much longer. Cooper Dwight's right there on the door knocking. Willow Blake gets by for third, so she's back on the move. Clear track in front of her. She's going to need a little help here. The lap traffic could factor in somewhere late in the race. Tim Cording, after getting that flat tire, unfortunately about to go lap down in 31st place. What a bummer for him. It was a great night up until it wasn't. And we might be looking at Willow Blake closing the gap again. She's obviously got the fresher tires of the top three, only by 2 laps, but still 2 laps fresher tires, that's going to last you the rest of this race. And if these two get starting side-by-side racing, that's only going to help Willow Blake's case even more. As it looks like Alex Crowther's car is getting away from him just a little bit. There we go. Side by side for the lead. It's going to be Cooper Dwight taking over. Cooper Dwight takes the lead, and Alex Crowther now gets sunk for leading most laps here tonight, as he would have had to have led every last lap here at the end to tie Alan Malcolm. 1 lap short of that now, with Cooper Dwight having led that lap. And now Cooper Dwight leads his 2nd lap of the race. We're going to have to keep our eyes on Willow Blake, though. She just turned a 29.475. That's in line with what Cooper Dwight just turned. However, Crowther just turned a 29.648. She'll have to catch 2nd before she can catch the leader. And these two, it's anyone's guess as to how the rest of this race is going to go for them. Lap traffic in the picture ahead. Willow Blake's just turning faster laps even than our leader here. It get interesting. As long as there's enough laps on the board, we could still see it happen here. She's 1.42 seconds back. That's the closest under competition that she's been in a while. Apart from green flag pit stops where she inherited the lead, she was about 1.8 seconds back at the closest on a few occasions. Now, 1.42 looks a lot sweeter. She's going to have to gain at least a 10th lap. And that could happen if they start getting side by side again. Crowther looking high, looking low. Tim Cording. And another lap car out front too. Willow Blake's cut the lead down to 1.43. Kind of plateaued a little bit. Everyone turned a 29.5 almost consistently across the board there. But Cooper Dwight struggling a little bit as he's got into some dirty air. The 50 lap traffic causing him to lose a little bit of momentum here. Wow, 29.5454. Really the only option here for Willow Blake is if that 84 gets alongside the 41. And to make things even better is if they caught the 50 at the same time and both of them get trapped behind him. Alan Malcolm's going to rebound for what looks to be a 4th place finish as he just got by Alex Sanvital there. 10 laps remaining. Cooper Dwight, your leader. Alex Crowther wants it back. And Tim Cording holding his line here, not letting the leaders get around him very easily. That was a 29.769 for your leader. That is a slow lap. Willow Blake turned to 29.550. How hard is it going to be to get around Tim Cording here? There's just 9 laps to go. And it looks like Cooper Dwight's almost content just riding around the backside of the 50 car here. But for what reason? If you can get an opening, take it. This is allowing Willow Blake to really catch up to your leaders here as she just cut the lead down to 0.82 seconds. We are about to have a barn burner of a finish here, folks. If you've tuned in and stayed on the stream, you're going to get treated to a spectacular finish here, I feel. They're getting around Tim Cording now, but the chase is on as Willow Blake has caught both your leaders. They're going to have Roach to deal with in another couple laps, and then the race is coming pretty quickly to a close. Now Willow gets stuck behind the 50 here, unfortunately. She's going to have to make quick work around the 50 if she wants to get up there and fight for this win. The quicker the better. 7 laps remain. Do we have a mechanical failure? Fuel leak out of the 32. Sigma officials are going to monitor that pretty closely. A fuel leak is, it's fluid down on track. Now your leaders have caught up to the 6 of Roach with just 5 laps to go. How hard is it going to be for them to get around Roach here? 84 of Crowther. Oh, and Roach blocks the line. Cooper Dwight slow on the inside. Crowther might have an opportunity to pounce here. Oh, Crowther gets held up by the 6 now. Wow, we have got a race on our hands here. 4 laps remaining. 3 cars all within under a blanket. Willow Blake's getting a bit of a draft here at the front for the first time in a while as she's caught up with the top 2. Crowther still hurting to get that lead back. He's not been able to get back around Cooper Dwight since Dwight took it away from him. Crowther drops a little bit there. Sigma officials have thrown the caution for liquid down on track. That fuel down from earlier, they have spotted that they need to do a quick cleanup and get this race back and rolling for green-white checkers here tonight. Willow Blake is going to have the inside line. Cooper Dwight on the inside. Outside line is going to be the 84 of Alex Crowther. But also on that outside line, you're going to see Alan Malcolm, who's got the freshest tires of everyone here. So it's going to come down to one last race restart here tonight. Unfortunately, it was because of the fuel down by the 32 here, which let's go ahead and watch a quick recap on how that went down. And they still haven't got that 32 fixed as he's stalled out on pit road there. Wow, Jimmy Logano somehow fell off exponentially. He's all the way back to 17th. So that's a rough way to go at the end of the night here for that 28 team. Willow Blake just hoping not to get back-to-back thirds when she could have had a win in the bag. Cooper Dwight's going to have to outlast at least one restart here tonight, with Alex Crowther hungry for that third win on the season. Alan Malcolm looking for his second win. Alex Sanvital, Jack Davis, Jamie Horseman all looking for their first win. We did see Moger sweep Daytona. He ended up winning... was it Daytona? Because I thought it was, oh yeah, that's right, it was. It was Moger that won Daytona. He swept Daytona with the trucks and Bridge to Cup, and was even given a ride in the Cup Series for a shot at trying to do the trifecta. Unfortunately, the trifecta didn't pan out as he was only able to get 2 of the 3, but that's still more than spectacular. It's been a stellar start to the Bridge to Cup season for him. That one win could carry him into the championship bracket at the end of the year. He's not doing as good to stay inside the top 15, 16 in points, so he might have to fall back on that win. So late race caution gives us one final restart here tonight, or perhaps one of many. Willow Blake's going to have the inside line right behind Cooper Dwight. Alex Crowther on the outside and Alan Malcolm also right behind him. This could get interesting. I don't know if some folks are going to be on the edge of pushing it to the end with the fuel that they've got. Hopefully they're not testing the banks on fuel mileage here, because you only end up looking at another caution here. No, the 41's having to pull off, maybe out of fuel. I just called it too. The 41 unable to finish the race as he has run out of fuel from the lead. Willow Blake, oh, and the 40's running out of fuel. Wow. Sigma officials are going to let the race roll here, though. We don't want to have too many restarts. Hopefully they can get things sorted before they get back to the start-finish line here. Willow Blake's having to pull off as well. No way. And there's a caution. We're going to get another restart here tonight. Alan Malcolm back to the lead. Back to back. Oh, and they wadded up some cars, it looks like. Wow. What a wild turn of events here. See, that's why you pit. Make sure you pit when it comes down to it. Don't try to push it all the way to the barren edge like this. That's just foolish. Well, we don't know how much fuel's in the tank for the leaders here. Wow. Well, this is Sigma After Hours now. We are truly getting into the dark edge of the races here. And I don't know if Malcolm's going to have enough fuel or not. Heartbreak for Cooper Dwight. He didn't need that last race caution here to ruin his night, but it looks like it has done just that, as he wasn't even able to make it back to pit road with his fuel mileage. Wow. Well, Willow Blake looks out, and she's going to still come back for 11th here. Well, it's funny that this race is called the Southern Comfort 241. There's nothing comfortable about running up front right now where you could be running out of fuel any given minute. We know for a fact that I think one of the first drivers good to go on fuel would be Willow Blake in 11th. The rest of these drivers in front of her, they could very well fall out right on the restart here. So Sigma officials are they're going to be on their toes here for the restart, making sure there's no craziness. But late race green-white checkers has forced our leader. He's been knocked out because he ran out of fuel. We got to figure out a way to finish this race. Yeah, you got another one drop in there. The 81 of Hubert. That's going to bring the entire outside line up. Oh, the 29 of Rich Roy dropping like a rock, too. Alan Malcolm and Crowther to the lead. We're going to let it roll. We got to try to get this race finished here. Sigma officials are being a little bit relaxed with the rules on the restarts. 19's out of fuel. 84, they're wrecking behind. How did they get the fuel back? 84 and the 19 look like they were out of fuel. They're just blowing up back into the mix. Yeah, he couldn't make it. He couldn't make it at all. Alan Malcolm had to pull down. Crowther getting the caution again. That's why we threw the caution right there. There's traffic sitting right in the middle of the race line. No, no, no. Oh, boy. That's why we threw the caution, and no one adhered the caution. Wow. Willow Blake got lucky there. Holy crap. Oh, my goodness. That's why we didn't want to end the race right there, because that was going to happen. Holy crap. Let's go ahead and watch the in-cam of Willow Blake there. I bet she had a very nervous moment here. Wow. Well, everyone's trying their best to get this race all the way to the finish here. It's just, dude, I don't know how Crowther's got enough fuel. He's got to be running out of fuel, too. Spinham Walker from second has a blown engine of sorts. He just blew up from second place. Well, now it's all kinds of upside down. I thought Willow Blake was going to have the most fuel mileage left at the end of this thing, but she's let a few drivers by her. That was not of her doing. She just got stuck behind all the drivers running out of fuel, and unfortunately could not make any moves through the field. Lights are still on the pace car. So Alex Crowther and Jack Davis should be out of fuel before long. Jimmy Logano, he pitted on lap 185, so he should be golden. Jimmy Logano could be sitting in the catbird seat here, and he's going to get the inside line. But if he's on the inside line and the 84 runs out of fuel, where does that leave him? Alex Sanvital also pitted on lap 185. Andrew Moger also 185. So Crowther and Davis are really your only two drivers that are suspect here on fuel mileage, and they're going to be resetting the field from the front. Side by side, we could see both of them drop before the start even. And we can't even get back to the green flag, and people are having to settle down into the bottom lane. Anheuser-Wagner. Cooper Dwight, it seems like he's having a fuel pickup issue now. Even though they got fuel back in the car, he's, I don't know if we're ever going to finish this race the way things are going. Crowther and Davis. Someone's got to win. Someone has to come home tonight to close out this deal. Where'd Willow Blake go? No way. Willow Blake, Wyatt Wilkinson, they're all just dropping out. Holy crap. Alrighty, let's get the rest of this race rolling and hopefully over with. This is turned into a fiasco and a half. No way. Sigma officials are not happy here, folks. There really is no resolving this race at this point. I wish I could red flag the game and give it a proper restart here, as it's just it's a train wreck. The train has come off the rails here at Nashville. Oh wow, bunch of retirements from that one wreck. I missed Tim Cording. I didn't realize Tim Cording was in the wreck. Oh yeah, he was. Wow. That was a treacherous wreck there of wrecks. Oh my goodness. Blown engine for the 74 there. Alex Crowther must have Skittles in the fuel tank. How in the world is he still out there running? He has not been down pit road. Not since 1:46? That's absurd. There is absolutely no way. There's no way. Well, Alan Chavot up to second now. Jonah Burridge in third. Roach fourth. Luis Rodriguez, Noah Hobson, Zach Magoon, Eli the Wolf, Trevor Vaden, Jimmy Logano, Jack Davis, Rich Roy, Skylar Taylor, Wyatt Wilkinson, Willow Blake, Cooper Dwight, Ryan Little, Anheuser Walkner. And if these two don't get rolling, they might get the boot. Hopefully they can get rolling. Alan Malcolm out of fuel. He is on the apron though, so let's just hope. Get it done here in one final restart. Some more droppers there already. The outside line, the 07 is going to be woed up. They get around him though, so it's all right. No harm, no foul. And this is the fight for the win here. The 97 of Alan Chavot taking the lead away from Alex Crowther. Crowther's going to be dropping out of fuel here any moment now. There's absolutely no way he's got enough fuel to make it to the finish. Ugh. More people dropping. Alex Crowther out front. How in the actual hell is he not out of fuel? The guy hasn't pitted since 70, 80 laps ago. The white flag waves. The race is over after this, no matter what happens. Everyone dipping down pit road there. I can't believe it. Crowther, we're going to have to do some digging. That car might not be legal. I mean, of all things, you might be looking at Noah Hobson as your winner here tonight. They're both BMWs, so whatever the case, Crowther brings it home in first. But that's a head scratcher. We're going to have to... Wow, the 07's there. Jimmy Logano in fifth. Willow Blake comes home with a 15th. It's over. The checkered's waved. Crowther's coasting on the bottom, I think, finally out of fuel. Or maybe making it look like he's out of fuel just to trick the officials here. 58 laps. And the game even says that they can go. We already knew they were able to go 68 laps, so maybe I was just mistaken that yeah, he made it work. No one else could, which is what's crazy. That everyone was under fueling their cars maybe to get a little bit more speed out of them, and that's what cost them the wins here tonight. Your top 5 is kind of wonky. Alex Crowther wins, Noah Hobson second, Eli the Wolf third, Luis Rodriguez fourth, and Jimmy Logano fifth. Everyone else that ran out of fuel, you see there 21st and 22nd, no fuel. Credited with a 21st and 22nd was Rich Roy and Alan Malcolm. Willow Blake coming home 15th. First car, 1 lap down. Yeah, that's I have no words for how weird and bizarre that race turned into there at the end. Sometimes you gotta roll with the punches. You get some weird races once in a while. And this one definitely took the cake here tonight. Y'all got to stay in and watch it for all its pure obscurity from start to finish. And Alex Crowther looks like he's going to be crowned champion here at Nashville. I don't think they're going to take that win away. He played the fuel mileage game to near perfection. One more late race caution and he would not have had it. So it was a matter of one more restart too many could have cost him the win here tonight. Who knows what we would have been looking at after that. Well, and thank you everyone for tuning in. We've obviously got 2 more races this week on Sunday. Maybe even tomorrow if I am able to get up on it a little earlier. With 1 Cup race and 1 ARCA race left on the week calendar here. With that, folks, have a great night. Stay safe out there. And until next time, this is Jakester signing out.